I chose Oklo over SMR because of the Sam Altman connection and additional hype and the sentiment premium that comes along with Sam Altman and a potential for one day. Thing I think you have to squeeze now. All right. They have been pounding the $10 and $12.50 calls here. Look at this volume yesterday and the open interest. Look at this. You see this? 15,000 versus 11,000 open interest. Interesting to see what we're at today when we open. 23,000 on the 1250s. I've been mentioning for a couple days extremely high call volume and how they may want to gamma squeeze Oklo. And now, look, all over the news, it's SMR, using, that those letters. Yeah, you have SMR here, but, we're going to go Oklo. But I think you have to throw away fundamentals. And, okay, some people may disagree with me. At this point in time, every once in a while, you get short squeezes in names, right? In sectors. And this is the time. The stars are aligned for a short squeeze in Oklo. I'm not in a full position. I think I added some, at 1250, was it? I added some at 1250. I tried adding more at 1265 while I was driving, but it ran away from me, and I had to go to 1290. But I'm leaving a lot of firepower to buy more dips. So look, what we'll do is throw Oklo into our top list here. All right. But really, this is just a continuation of the inflection point in uranium. If you think Oklo is risky, just go URA. All right. And just own it. Own it for this coming move that's going to continue into the rest of this year, into next year. Look, 3363 minimum target on URA. It's just too much. It's too much. It's too much sentiment. It's too much catalyst, and it's going to overcome. It's going to overcome any other market dynamic. It's going to overcome the shorts, overcome the bears, overcome any concerns about fundamentals. This is the moment we're in now, and it's game on. And you can see that 28,000 share bid right now in Oklo at $12.80. Okay, so Oklo, look at that, back in our top 5 here. In fact, let me just. Let's see what kind of position I have in my trading account in Oklo. Oh, it's so small. Oh, I got a small position, man. Do I want to buy more while I'm on the show? Buy high. I think this is one of the days. I'm going to leave more room to buy the dip. I will. But I'm going to add a little bit more here at like the high. Okay. 1290. I just think sometimes you got to have that instinct, and you got to strike when you think there's going to be a short squeeze, and I think there's going to be a short squeeze. So, wow, that's crazy. All right, Oklo in the top 5. All right. Amazon, okay, Elon, I mean, Jeff Bezos has been selling everything he could at $200. We got some call options overnight, $200 strike for this week. And my thinking was on a Trump victory, we can break 200 because, I don't know if I mentioned this on the show yesterday or on our Discord. I think it was on the show. Jeff Bezos did something that took some guts. He went against everybody in his organization to prevent the Washington Post from endorsing Kamala Harris. Okay, that happened last week. And there was like a mutiny at the Washington Post, and people were really pissed at him. So he took a stand, and I'm sure Donald Trump took note of that. The question is that the market take note of that enough to say Amazon's a Trump stock, just like Tesla will benefit because of his support for Trump. Will Amazon benefit because of what Jeff Bezos did for Trump in the past week? That was the thesis for why we got some Amazon calls yesterday. And it's really underperforming today, up 0.45%. If we look at the QQQ and SPY, up 2%. Look, I got to throw Amazon in the top 5. I got to say, now we have all the ingredients finally. We don't know. It's a black hole. We don't know for sure how many shares is Jeff Bezos selling at 200. So it's definitely risky to do this. But if there's ever going to be a day where there's enough buy volume to overcome a big seller, I would say maybe today's that day. So let's throw Amazon in the top 5 for a break of 200 for a second. But it's not just about the supply. It's also about the demand. So even if you want to imagine whatever the max quantity it is that you think Jeff Bezos is selling out there, if there's any day where the demand can overtake the supply, today's a good day to do that. All right. That's basically what I'm saying. And has already sold many shares. It's not like he just started. He's been selling for a long time. So I would guess it's closer to the end than the beginning. But again, it's a black hole what the supply is, but also today the demand is going to be crazy. Let's take out that $200 Jeff Bezos wall today. Amazon, okay, Elon, I mean, Jeff Bezos has been selling everything he could at $200. We got some call options overnight, $200 strike for this week. And my thinking was on a Trump victory, we can break 200 because, I don't know if I mentioned this on the show yesterday or on our Discord. I think it was on the show. Jeff Bezos did something it took some guts. He went against everybody in his organization to prevent the Washington Post from endorsing Kamala Harris. Okay, that happened last week. And there was like a mutiny at the Washington Post, and people were really pissed at him. So he took a stand, and I'm sure Donald Trump took note of that. The question is that the market take note of that enough to say Amazon's a Trump stock, just like Tesla will benefit because of his support for Trump. Will Amazon benefit because of what Jeff Bezos did for Trump in the past week? That was the thesis for why we got some Amazon calls yesterday. And it's really underperforming today, up 0.45%. If we look at the QQQ and SPY, up 2%. Look, I got to throw Amazon in the top 5. I got to say, now we have all the ingredients finally. We don't know. It's a black hole. We don't know for sure how many shares is Jeff Bezos selling at 200. So it's definitely risky to do this. But if there's ever going to be a day where there's enough buy volume to overcome a big seller, I would say maybe today's that day. So let's throw Amazon in the top 5 for a break of 200 for a second. But it's not just about the supply. It's also about the demand. So even if you want to imagine whatever the max quantity it is that you think Jeff Bezos is selling out there, if there's any day where the demand can overtake the supply, today's a good day to do that. All right. That's basically what I'm saying. And has already sold many shares. It's not like he just started. He's been selling for a long time. So I would guess it's closer to the end than the beginning. But again, it's a black hole what the supply is, but also today the demand is going to be crazy. Let's take out that $200 Jeff Bezos wall today. HIMS. Okay. HIMS, I'm very bullish on for earnings. I want a long-term tranche of this. I've been in call options for a few days. If you're with us right here on this day, October 30th, I started buying call options, bought more on Friday. It was one of our bigger winners on Thursday. It was our bigger winners on Friday. Big open green candle Friday. This sell-off I've been explaining for a while. Unwarranted. Too much focus from the bears on GLP-1. Even without GLP-1, this stock has been beating and raising every single quarter, even without the impact of compounding GLP-1. So we'll see. The trend is your friend, right? So I'm always going to bet on the trend until it breaks. And that trend is beat and raise every quarter, beat and raise every quarter. So that's a good bet to take that they're going to beat and raise again. So I'm looking potentially for this stock to be trading in the $23 to $25 range tonight and tomorrow if they do have that earnings beat. So HIMS is going to be a top 5 stock today. We'll throw that up at the top. All right. Amazon, okay, Elon, I mean, Jeff Bezos has been selling everything he could at $200. We got some call options overnight, $200 strike for this week. And my thinking was on a Trump victory, we can break 200 because, and I don't know if I mentioned this on the show yesterday or on our Discord. I think it was on the show. Jeff Bezos did something it took some guts. He went against everybody in his organization to prevent the Washington Post from endorsing Kamala Harris. Okay, that happened last week. And there was like a mutiny at the Washington Post, and people were really pissed at him. So he took a stand, and I'm sure Donald Trump took note of that. The question is that the market take note of that enough to say Amazon's a Trump stock, just like Tesla will benefit because of his support for Trump. Will Amazon benefit because of what Jeff Bezos did for Trump in the past week? That was the thesis for why we got some Amazon calls yesterday, and it's really underperforming today, up 0.45%. If we look at the QQQ and SPY, up 2%. Look, I got to throw Amazon in the top 5. I got to say, now we have all the ingredients finally. We don't know. It's a black hole. We don't know for sure how many shares is Jeff Bezos selling at 200. So it's definitely risky to do this. But if there's ever going to be a day where there's enough buy volume to overcome a big seller, I would say maybe today's that day. So let's throw Amazon in the top 5 for a break of 200 for a second. But it's not just about the supply. It's also about the demand. So even if you want to imagine whatever the max quantity is that you think Jeff Bezos is selling out there, if there's any day where the demand can overtake the supply, today's a good day to do that. All right. That's basically what I'm saying. And has already sold many shares. It's not like he just started. He's been selling for a long time. So I would guess it's closer to the end than the beginning. But again, it's a black hole what the supply is, but also today the demand is going to be crazy. Let's take out that $200 Jeff Bezos wall today. All right, good.
I just added Snap $12 calls November 1st.
Snap $12 calls November 1st. I might join you.
Yeah, I'm up 3%.
Snap.
No, I'm up 7.
$12 calls November 1st. I mean, I really don't need them. I have a big common share position, but just for fun. All right. So I picked up $180 worth of that. All right. Good morning, everyone. It's Thursday, November 7th. Welcome back, Rhett. What a great, incredible day we had yesterday in our community. If you're with us yesterday for the pre-market prep, well, you may have missed some stuff if you're not in the Discord, all right? Yesterday, we gave you 5 ideas, and 4 of them really exploded. But you had to be in our chat room to figure out how to execute on that, when to get out of certain things, when to double down on certain things. So let's just review how yesterday went quickly before we do our macro overview. Look at what's going on here. We'll talk about DXYZ in just a second. Okay, so a couple things right off the top of the show yesterday. We said sell DJT at the open. We held that into the election, sold it right at the open, not touching it with the 10-foot pole again. That was the right decision. So hopefully we save some folks some money with that. But the big trade of the day yesterday, Amazon. Wow, did we ever get this call correctly? We did not vacillate. When it dipped down here in the morning, we kept on buying 200 and 205 calls. I was also on 202.50 calls and predicting the breakout of 200, right? It's story traders. We're not pure technical traders, We anticipate technical breakouts based on catalysts and the impact of catalysts on sentiment and fundamentals. So we had this analysis correct. We accurately predicted a break of 200. You can go look at that video. We were playing it before, but you can check it out on our social media, how we predicted the break of 200. And tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars were made in our Discord community on that very accurate call. In the Discord during the day, we gave a target of 205. We said, how far is this going after it breaks 200? We said 205. At least 205 is what we said. At least 205 is the target on Amazon. So that trade was brilliant, beautiful in our community. A couple other trades we gave you. DXYZ. Okay, DXYZ yesterday, we gave a target of $16 to $18. Okay, when pre-market was 14. Hit right there at 17.45, 16 18. But if you were in a Discord, you heard me say late in after hours that I don't think the move in DXYZ is done. But anyway, this was also, I told you guys, this is also a good swinger long-term position, not just a day trade. Late in after hours, I picked this up at 15.40, telling you guys I don't think this is done yet. DXYZ can have a further explosive move. Wow, look at this. Overnight, it's now up 34%. Now, I did probably sell at around 1950. I sold about 1950. We'll come back around to this in a second. Intel, all right. Intel's the other pick that really worked, especially towards the end of the day. We had a good thesis on that. It broke the we anticipated a break of the technical resistance, and it broke the technical resistance. That's the difference between a story trader and a technical trader. Again, looking at the catalyst, the sentiment, and the fundamentals, predicting when the technicals will break. And we did that accurately. We got more on Intel in just a second. Quick look at the macro first before we get into the top stocks of the day. Today's FOMC. You can probably disregard all this, but I will say from a macro money flow perspective, the Trump trade is still on in a big way, all right? We'll touch on that when we talk about individual stocks a bit, Tesla, DXYZ, Intel, but that was not just a one-day move. Okay, now, FOMC can throw a wrench into everything at 2 p.m. I have no idea what they're going to do. Look at gold, the interesting move out of gold. Oh, well, it was down big yesterday. Oh, that's good. It's good. I sold some of my gold at the open yesterday. It's still much lower than where I sold it. Okay. In any case, also Bitcoin, that was easy to predict. We got to update our trade card on Bitcoin because it hit the new all-time high target. All right. We gave you a target of the new all-time high, which we got. Probably it's going to be 100,000 or something like that. Now is going to be the next major target. But anyway, we got some other focuses. Also want to let you know, XBI looking for a break of 103.50. In fact, let me move that over the top list so we can keep an eye on XBI, a break of 103.50, and this thing can really roar to like 110 or something like that. Okay, ERs. To be honest with you, I have not been on top of ERs. I'll give a little bit of commentary here. This, like these ERs are incredible, and the reactions. But I've been all over the Trump trade, so I haven't been as focused on ERs. I'll mention a couple things that stand out to me that are important. First of all, GEO and CXW. Regarding that Trump trade, they both reported CXW last night, GEO this morning. Guess what? CXW beat a big, I think it was by 24% on the guide. And how I gotta go.
Yep.
Yeah, 24% on the guide. I threw that in the Discord this morning, and GEO was a big miss. So I think you can, first of all, we just talked about that Trump trade will continue to have legs. I got to actually make sure this is at the top of the list. Hold on. Okay. So that was not just a one-day move. These are major, major inflection points in policy that are going to happen. Now, we don't know exactly how these companies may benefit. We don't know exactly how this immigration and deportations might work. But the sentiment is going to be sky high. And when the sentiment's sky high, you can bet when the fundamentals beat. So 24% beat. You know what we like to say, markets are efficient. Yesterday's price was correct. 1758 close was correct. So now if you have a delta of information, that delta information being a 25% beat on the guidance, then you can get an inline move of 25%. Now, I'm not saying you can move 25% today because we did move 29% yesterday. A lot of this was probably baked in, but that guidance was excluding, that guidance had nothing to do with Trump winning. So it's definitely possible. And if you analyze the figures, I think they're trading at like a 30 PE. So it's not like, okay, maybe a little expensive, but you throw in the sentiment of what can happen with their business under a Trump administration. Look at the history of the stock, where it's been in the past. If you look at the cycles here, actually, let's look at how this did in 2016. Okay, well, in 2016, after Trump won, look at this move. This is a month. These are monthly candles, by the way. So CXW was up for 4 months in a row after Trump won. It tripled from $10 to $30. So I don't think this move is over. We'll have a similar conversation in just a second about Tesla. By the way, Rhett, if you can check the comments while I'm talking, if there's something important, just let me know.
Sounds good. We'll do.
Okay, great. Now, another ER that stood out for me is Bros. Now, Bros, I used to have a long-term position in recently, like several months ago, but I didn't going into yesterday. This was on my radar. I talked about it on the show yesterday that I had Bros on my radar for a watch list for ER. Immediately when this came out, I notified the Discord of it was a 25% beat. And, there you go, 25% inline move. I just personally, I dropped the ball execution wise. I just couldn't do it after hours. My money was like tied up. And by the time I freed it up, whatever, it ran away from me and I decided not to chase it. But it's okay. You know why? Because in after hours yesterday, instead, I put my money in DXYZ. And there you go. Oh, we'll talk about that again in just a second. Wow. All right. So, Bros, one of the more interesting ones to me. And the reason it's more interesting to me is because Starbucks, this is a coffee shop chain. Starbucks has been doing very poorly. And I wonder if there's, I don't wonder, I want to, basically submit to you that when you have a differing performance, whether it's true or not, when you have Bros beating and Starbucks missing, right? There could be the perception out there that Bros is taking market share away from Starbucks. Whether that's true or not, I really don't care, right? But from a sentiment perspective and what other investors might think, that might cause the stock to do well. That's why I've had my eyes on Bros for a long time, ever since Starbucks has started having bad quarters. So you can see here, up 25%. It's up above the 52-week high, gapping there at 43.49. Look, I gave the alert in the Discord. I'm just kicking myself for not finding a way to be more aggressive about buying this last night, because this was pretty predictable when you beat your guy by 25%. And again, in the backdrop of Starbucks keeps missing and Bros keeps beating, that's very good. This stock always on my radar. Okay. Other earnings. I'm not in app. I think the Godfather is in our community, up 38%. I haven't even looked at the report. I have nothing to say about that, but congratulations. If you're on Discord, it's not just content from me. It's content from the Godfather and other folks, contributors in our community. So
yeah, and I just want to mention one other thing on that too, Ben. Just not only are we trading these stocks, I mean, also long-term investments. So the Godfather alerted our community about this one at $60, and this stock is now trading at $220. So
wow, 4-time return.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yep, and that was just beautiful. A few months ago.
So for some reason, I never looked up the stock, and I don't even trade stocks that I don't know what they do. All right, forget about investments. I won't even do a day trade on a stock if I don't know what they do, and I don't have a good idea of what they do. So I never had a chance to look up app. So I personally didn't, but a lot of people, including you, Red, I think you played app.
Yeah, I did. I sold way too early though.
Yeah, but I saw someone in our community who's still holding some shares here at 240. So good job on that. We also had good earnings out of Qualcomm. All these other earnings reports you can take a look at. CXW, Core, GEO this morning. Lyft with some good guidance on bookings. But the one that really, again, stands out along with this, you can also get a money rotation out of GEO and into CXW. Again, GEO missed, CXW beat. By the way, GEO was up 42% yesterday. CXW up 29%. So GEO underperformed, and now you have an extra catalyst on top of this with the fundamental beat that you can see money coming out of GEO and into CXW this morning. Okay, we'll talk about that more in just a second. A lot to cover today. OPFI, this is a Godfather stock, completely Godfather stock. I don't know that much about it. I just know they had a big beat this morning. They also beat their guide by about 24%. Is that right, Brett? I put it in the chat room.
I'm not too sure about that one.
An inline move on this one. There's a financial services company is $6.70 if you want to move in line with the guidance beat. And if you triangulate that with the chart, what do we have around 670? Let's move in over here. 670 is kind of in this area. You have traffic jam. Those traffic jams tend to be both magnets and resistance areas. So I would say somewhere between 670 and 7 potential targets today for OPFI. It's 6 by 608. I added more. This is a one I played into earnings based on the research from the Godfather, and I added more this morning at $6. It's now 6 by 608. Looking for that 670. And man, I keep kicking myself over Bros. It's going straight up. All right, now let's go to our top list. And what do we have over here to talk about? We got CXW. XPI is not going to be the top 5, but we'll keep an eye on that. DJT, not today, not ever. Okay, we're done with that. Amazon, not in the top 5 today, although I wouldn't doubt if it continues to have momentum, but we have better things to play this morning. Okay, so what are we going to throw up here to talk about? First, let's talk about DXYZ. Last night, we gave this to you in after hours, predicting this big move. Remember, there's only 2 ways. Let's pull up Tesla. I mean, there's so much to talk about, Brett, this morning. Okay, there's only 2 ways. The 2 most direct ways to get exposure to Elon Musk's companies. Okay, this cannot be overstated enough. This is not just a one-day move. It's not just even a sentiment move. Okay, there are going to be very real beneficial outcomes for Elon Musk's companies because of deregulation, because of whatever kind of regulatory approvals that SpaceX may need for something, government contracts, whatever regulatory approvals Tesla needs for automation. These are very real things. And as a result, Tesla's getting big upgrades this morning, by the way, from Wedbush and Dan Ives saying $1.5 trillion market cap. Bank of America, I think, increased like $50 the price target. This is not a one-day move. I added more Tesla to my retirement account yesterday after the move, okay? All right, so DXYZ, this is the only way you get exposure to SpaceX. And the move was muted yesterday. It was only up 37%. If you look at the history of this chart, look what happened last time people found out that, oh, you can invest. People didn't know for a bit that DXYZ was SpaceX. Look at this. Now, this fundamentally was unwarranted, but you get that short squeeze. You know, yesterday, my target range was 16 to 18 from a fundamental perspective. How much should this re-rate to because of Trump being president? Up to 1829, I think, was fair. But now you break 1829, you can get a short squeeze. There's no telling how high it goes. Now, I actually sold my shares this morning around 19 on average. But this is on our radar for pullbacks. If you're a gambler and you want to buy this breakout at 22, yeah, this is something. It could go crazy today. This could go to $30, $40. Not out of the question as people learn you can invest in SpaceX and a whole new crop of investors coming into it. So top 5, but we sold that already. All right. We sold that, maybe looking for re-entries on DXYZ. Congrats if you're in our Discord and you're paying attention and you got the alert last night. You were able to sell this quickly overnight for a 25% gain with me. All right. There's so much to talk about. Tesla, let me just say Tesla is not over. Not over at all. I updated the price target in our 4-pillar channel in our Discord. Gave you guys a new price target. We had 270 to 299. We upgraded that price target to 300 to 315. Where is it? There's a 300. I got to go to weekly candles. 300 to 315. Okay, 300 right there to 315 right there. That's the more near-term targets. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it comes by Monday. Who knows? Might even come today or tomorrow. 300 to 315. I predict we're going to break 300. Just like yesterday, we predicted Amazon would break 200. We don't play those games here. We use our brains. All right. We interpret catalysts and what's going to happen. Yep. What's the market going to do? So we're not like machines. If you want to be a machine, you might as well like pay for an algo to trade for you and then go do something else. All right. Here we're qualitative analysts, not just quantitative. So we're predicting this break of 300. Next target 300 to 315 on Tesla. But longer term, I gave you guys a target of 360 to 415 by January. 360 to 415 by January. Full video. If you want to see the full video, it's in our Discord. All right. I recorded a video last night. I dropped it in our Discord. You can take a look at the thesis and why I'm thinking that's going to happen. All right. So Tesla in play. CXW, we talked about that in play. Intel in the gap. This has got to be a top 5. Might even be the top pick of the day. All right. We broke that resistance. Again, you get the Trump tailwinds about domestic manufacturing of chips. Intel's to benefit from that, at least from a sentiment perspective. I don't really care if they actually will from a fundamental perspective. That's not the play here. The play is what's the psychology of the street right now in this moment. That's why we predicted the break into this gap, and we were right. We broke into that gap, and there you go. You can see the target for yourself up there in the 28th. So Intel, we're loaded. We're locked and loaded. I got a nice amount of call options, different strikes in the next 2 weeks on Intel. Can I take a break? What's in the? You got to leave in 5 minutes, right?
Yeah, I got to leave in 4 minutes. So
okay, what's in the chat here? App crazy, great call from the Godfather. DXYZ Vince, yeah, you got to pay attention. Last night, yeah, but I even sold when I sold it this morning at like 19. I'm like, this thing can explode much further today, folks. But I took my profits anyway. All right, so we got OPFI inline move. All right, I got to put OPFI in the top 5 today. I got to put CX on the earnings beat. Got to put CXW on the earnings beat in the Trump sentiment in the top 5. Intel's got to be in the top 5. DXYZ was basically in the top 5, but we've already reached our targets. So this one, by the way, Rhett, when we record this, we're going to be like, we got in last night at like 15 or whatever it was, out at 19. So we already hit our targets, top 5 on that, but not at right now's price. Okay. What else do we want to put in here? ACHR. Let's move that. We're going to move. ACHR didn't work yesterday. Maybe it'll work today. They got a contract this morning. ER is tonight. Trump is backing. They want to back eVTOL companies. So we'll throw ACHR back in the top 5. Man, it's 917. So CXW, OPFI on the earnings beat. Intel. I'm going to go Intel number 1 because just more liquid as a big cap. OPFI number 2, which percentage-wise will probably do much better than Intel. But we got the options in Intel, which will do better than OPFI. All right, then we got CXW on the earnings beat, ACHR, and Tesla. Okay, I think Tesla's going to go green today. Hopefully, probably, very good chance in a big way. There you go. As I'm talking, who's watching my show? Who's watching my show? What are these big fund managers? I'm like, Tesla's going to go up in a big way. They immediately take it up. Immediately take it up. All right, so, oh my gosh. Oh, look at that. Thoughts on TSSI? Someone's asking me. The top, look, we're very well known our thoughts. It's documented very well in our Discord. So you can join our Discord to see that. But we put an overweight on this on October 21st when it was $6 with a target of 8 to 10. So it's well within our target zone right now. Earnings are next week. I recommend taking some off before earnings, and we'll revisit that soon. Okay, but we've been in that since 270 all the way to 850 right now. I got to stop here. There's a lot more to talk about, but we'll do it in our chat room at Discord, storytrading.com/Discord. Rhett set up this code for everyone. Code MAGA, $47 off your first month. Looks like it's going to be another stellar day for us, guys. Congrats. Good luck, everyone.
Oh,
Thank you, Rhett.
Of course.
Right.
Have a good one.
Take care.